Hello everyone, my name is Chris. I'm the creator of the Oracle series and Sniper Momentum series on TradingView, the indicators on TradingView. I did receive a lot of requests for having a YouTube video explaining indicator, especially since there's two ways, two different modes to use it, quote unquote. One of them is for day trade and the other is more for scalping. I myself, I'm a scalper. I scalp trade. I am going to be working more on something that's more specific for people that want to do swing trading and long-term investments. That's going to be in development later on. But this is what we have right now. So right here, so you can see this is QQQ. This is basically from the last trading day. I will say this, before the release, I completely forgot to put the previous day high and previous day low. However, some of the previous versions, you can actually turn everything off and leave the previous day high and previous day low if you wanted to use two indicators, if you feel that that's absolutely important for you. It's a very minor feature. It saves me time in the morning from having to draw it out from the previous day. So again, that's all up to you. All right, let's go ahead and dive in. This is generally my setup since I built the indicator. Pretty much my, understand my own setup a bit more. So I have my chart a bit more simplistic. This cloud here, this is your trend line, your overall trend line. It is the EMA 50. This kind of keeps you, helps keep you in the trend as it goes along. As you can see, we had some choppy areas. The candles here, you're gonna notice, and you can turn all these features on and off. Whenever, because there is a chop detector built into the indicator. I do want to say this: the chop detector was one of the most difficult things to build. I would have detected the beginning of a chop somewhere in this general area here. It really did not start registering as a chop area until it came here, and then when it came out of it, it does have a little bit of a buffer, just in case it comes back into the zone that it's detecting. The signals are suppressed, so instead of having a buy or sell signal, they're just dots of the same color. So you can, it kind of helps you keep out. You can make your own determination since, it is detecting a possible entrance. If you want to get in or not, if you want to get in early, and catch this trend, if you feel like this is about to happen based on your own confluences or strategies, you can. So as you can see here, it was still in a relatively choppy area when it generated the blue dot. This would have been the sell, and it made its run before this brief sell period came up. So anyways, this is more for day trader mode. If you're trading options, you'll start getting hit by theta, the longer that you stay in the trend. So unless you're trading buying 1, 2, or 3 DTE to minimize that theta decay. But if you're doing 0 DTE, just keep that in mind. So, all right, let's go into the settings. Like I said, I made everything customizable. Everybody has their trading style and their preferences. This is my preference. The candles stay red when it's in the bearish trend. And then the colors of the actual color of the candle shows up as a border. So like for instance, this one right here is actually a green candle. This is actually a green candle. And then obviously when there is no border on a red one, it stays red. Same with the consolidation areas. You notice this has a red border, aqua green border, and then when you're in the opposite direction and going up, it has a red border to signify red candles. And you can turn off these signals. As you can see, here's a buy or here's a sell. Here are the dots. You can actually turn those off completely. See, it'll disappear. You can turn off the smart candles if you want to have the actual original candles. So, and then if you want to have the original candles, you can optimize or have the chop come up with a flag. There's chop risk, and then I had to scroll that up, and then it clears around this section here when it detects that it's actually clearing fully the zone. All right, so if you want to not suppress the signals, you can. Now, when the choppy areas, when it goes up, down, consolidation, whatever you want to call it, it'll turn the flags back on. Like I said, you can turn on and off the EMA 50 electrified line if you feel that that's just a little bit too intense on what's being shown, or if you want to just turn off the cloud and just have the line, that's fine. The trend table on mobile, and this is the main reason why I wanted to make this so that you can turn it on and off. On mobile, the trend table does show up pretty large. On the actual table on a computer, it's a pretty modest size. So the trend table, it's pretty much exactly, I tried to make it as simple as I could. Has your trend from the 1 to 30 minute. Do not have the 30-second because that, free users were not going to be able to pull it up and use the indicator, and I wanted to make it as available as possible. It shows you the overall momentum, your RSI at the time, the trend quality. All these are based on different algorithms, your RSI, your MACD, your ATRs, and it gives it a calculation. All right, so going back to how it was. So this is more, like I said, day trading mode. You can have the option to turn on the momentum score. The momentum score follows the score in the following candle, and again, this takes multiple calculations to generate the percentage of the momentum. Basically, if it's under 40%, it won't show because it just basically has no momentum at that point. Any number that shows up there really means that there's a potential trend momentum. 64 is not very big, as you can tell. You just kind of started going off and taking off. So, I actually prefer not to have. If I turn everything on, it starts getting a little crowded. There is the ready signal. The ready signal is basically, it tells you to get ready. That's what it is. Ready because there's an 80% chance that there's going to be a switch in direction. Everything changes. Obviously, this generated on a very large red candle here. So even though it was 80%, that 80% chance that the direction was going to flip, it's not going to catch what the market's going to do. So conversely, it ended up being on the buy. Now, I do have the RSI every time that there is a signal generated already set up. As you can tell here, the RSI is starting to get on the lower end. RSI being 40 on the sell, pretty strong possibility that it's going to keep going down. And as you can see, it ended up going down. So it will give it a market state and go back a few candles to determine the algorithm and the calculations for you. Like I said, there is not a single indicator in the world that has a crystal ball attached to it. We can only go by whatever math is available to us. Okay, so this is with pretty much everything on without the scalper mode. We'll go over the trade map in a second, but I know people were talking about scalper mode. These are for very fast trades. Now, how I generally do it if I'm getting into more of a scalp mode, I will turn off the buy and sell signals, the ready, the momentum score, and I'll just clear the map. I don't need the chop risk because when I have the smart candles, it tells me when I'm in chop because they turn white. So now it's clear. Now these are the scalps. Scalping is designed to be quick in and out. They're not supposed to follow trends. They're not supposed to be anti-fake out because some of the fake outs is where some of the profit is. So I'll start with the full label just to kind of go over it. The labels are different as you go along, and I'll show you the difference. And this is actually a perfect day to show because it has both the downtrend and an uptrend. All right, so here you'll see that the short actually does show up. The RSI shows up. This is a very strong potential for a scalp. In the same token, the long signal does generate simultaneously. It'll say that it's a high risk long, RSI 34, probably not one that you want to take. So that's why the signals change. Whenever it's under the overall trend line, you have a very minimal chance of having a successful trade. So anyway, so the so this came up, it kind of kept you in the trend. It didn't tell you to take profit yet, because it did a quick flip back to being short, back to another short signal. And so here we go with the short, and the take profit actually does come up later on, if it determines that it's still going to be in the trend on in the scout mode. And as you can see here at the very bottom, it does give you the RS, or the take profit, as in this is pretty much going to be the end of the trend. There is a simultaneous high risk long that kind of detects that it's going to be going up. As you can see, the RSI is up to 44 versus the high risk long that was 34 and 36. So this is good to pay attention to. It's like, okay, it's rising. There's a pretty good chance that it could be that could be it. Here's another short signal, another high risk long. Now the RSI is still rising. At this point, RSI 45, in my opinion, I would not take that trade. It's starting to get up there. My cutoff and my confluence, my personal confluence, is it has to be below 45, not at 45 and below. So so this would not be a trade that I would take. That's why that's there, so that you can make your own decision. And probably would not be a good idea when you have a sharp upward trend and you start seeing that signal. Maybe don't take it. At this point here, now the long signals are starting to come up. It's because we're right up into this part of the chart. So the long signal starts coming up instead of the high risk long, although it does tend to get to that point. Now, about choppy areas, because this is where most traders get trapped. This is where a lot of profits get lost. When you start seeing some of these, where the price changed is not very much, then draw your own box. I typically would end up drawing my box here. Sorry, these are my supports and resistance areas. But that's something that I would suggest to people. You cannot just solely rely on the chop generator. The generator does do a calculation. It doesn't always catch it. Market does change constantly. So, but in any case, all right. Conversely, going on the upward. Now we're on the above the EMA line. As you can see, the high risk short comes on whenever it is going to be detecting a short, but the regular long symbols are up. So this is actually kind of zoomed out. This actually took quite a good chunk of profit on this run here. So this one, long RSI 60. I generally like for it to be 55 and over. So I don't think I took that one. I think I missed that one. I did catch this run. So it'll tell you to take profit if there's a chance that it could reverse. The take profit will come up just to kind of keep you safe. Same here. Take profit actually ended up being all the way up here. This one was in consolidation. This is actually really your high risk short. This is actually where your take profit would have normally been. However, the signal did get suppressed. It can't have two signals at the same time. So once you see that there's white candles or going into a potential consolidation zone or chop zone, I would take that signal and get out. Now these are where the signals were suppressed to try and keep you from getting trapped. Yes, you do have the potential of missing it, but that's why these signals can still be popped up or suppressed. So on this long, oh, okay, I do apologize. The next take profit didn't come up till way up here. Lots of consolidation up until the very end, and actually although pretty much all the way until the end of this day. And you can take those off. So for me, generally, I have the VRVP. This is your visible range volume profile. This is how I kind of detect another way I detect my chop zones. Whenever you see a pyramid here is another way that I draw my boxes. So for me, and this is going to be part of the next evolution, will be, generally detecting a chop zone in these general areas. So it's one way to look at it. This has another, well, I guess the pyramid disappeared, but that's a personal thing. You can draw your supports. There are support generators on TradingView that you can use, and then here again, Everyone has their preference. I like to have triangles only. So another technique that you can use in day trade mode is, and I know it gets a little chaotic, a little bit looking like confetti, and you can suppress some of these in different ways. Did I have? Yes, I did. This sell signal will generate, and instead of having a short or long on the scalper, it can kind of help you detect on when it can potentially end a steep drop. So the now sudden reversals like these are virtually impossible to catch right away. I mean, but it catches on the very first candle. So, and then same with the rest of the trend down. It's not the very first candle, but it's the very first candle from, or second candle from the very lowest point before our first signal generated. So I like to have these on. I make my own determination. You know, in this instance, I was like, well, this is a very sharp up. However, my EMA cloud has widened. You know, the cloud itself is very bright still. That means it's a very strong trend. The EMA, the RSI at that point was actually pretty low. Even with the spike up, it was still pretty low, which kind of tells me that it was on a pretty good downward trend still. I still have my RSIs here at the bottom. I just never took them off. I don't even glance at it anymore. But yeah, so in any case, these signals do get compressed, or you can just take them off. So periodically I turn them on and off. A lot of times I just really don't when I'm doing, depending on what strategy I'm going in that day. So, and then last but not least, we'll go to the end of the charts. And we'll show you the map here. Where is the map? Oh, it's not live trading right now. Let me go ahead and pull up. Pretty sure and futures is on, is trading right now. So whenever there's a buy sell generate, not for scalp. Again, this is not when scalp turns on, but you'll have this whenever a buy signal generates. So this is going to be for the top of the candle. So this is your entry point if you were to take, hypothetically, the buy signal, and it will show you a map on where to take profit, where to take your stop loss, you take profit 2, you take profit 3, or trim profit, however you want to decide to do it. And that is also customizable. If you think it's like, man, that's way too high, you know, it's or the stop loss is too conservative, or it's not conservative enough, that is completely customizable. You just have to go here, the trade map settings. So just to give an example here for the stop loss, you can decrease the number and it shortens the stop loss, or you can increase the number and drastically increase that. So same thing with these. You can adjust the numbers however you want, and it'll adjust it for you. So again, I try to make this as customizable as possible, and again, this is completely free on TradingView. I did make sure I combed through the code to make sure that all users are able to utilize it, just, you know, to help. I can't tell you how many indicators I've gone into, subscribed to, paid for, and they were just, so many were so bad. So, but they caught things late, didn't catch things. I mean, it was a little ridiculous. The chop generator is something that I haven't even seen. So this is only the first full version of the Oracle. You might have seen like Sniper Momentum Pros. Those were the predecessors. You know, those were basically the I was still building the engine. In the beginning, I actually did not realize that TradingView wasn't going to let me delete published content, published indicators, or edit them. You know, so I do apologize for that. I didn't know that that's how TradingView worked. There are a bunch of indicators on there that are quite frankly, they're junk. Everything was still in beta. I was trying to save it, and it appeared as a coder, it appeared that it was only going to be able to save if it published it. So anyways, the other portions of it were areas that I was taking individually, trial by trial by trial. All these have a cumulative of over 200 different versions before I actually got to where it's at right now. So, and then of course we're going to continuously develop. The market does change. This everything that we've gone through, back testing, live testing, and things like that, have it could be thrown out tomorrow at any time. Any success that we've had in the past doesn't negate tomorrow, the future success. This is educational. This is a tool. This is not, you make your own decisions. When your own financial decisions. I'm not a financial advisor, so this is just merely an educational guide. So just wanted to have all the disclaimers out there. And frankly, I didn't actually memorize it, but it's. So I might as well just go ahead and make sure I read it out loud before anybody tries to try to get on me. But anyways, Oracle Sniper Lite, and this video is an educational trading tool designed to assist with market analysis. Does not guarantee profitable trades, predict future price movement with certainty, or provide financial investment or legal advice. All trading involves substantial risk, including the possible loss of capital. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Always perform your own analysis. Use appropriate risk management, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Okay? All right. Hope everyone finds this helpful. Video's 22 minutes. I really tried to make it as fast as I could. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave something in the comments, and I'll put the confluences that have worked for me in the past, and in the comments itself, and I'll post this video on there as well. All right. Hope everybody has a great day. Thanks for stopping by, and I really hope that what I built, that has been built to really help myself. I'm not going to be a gatekeeper. I'll make my money through the market. I'm not going to ask for people to send money. I'm not going to create a subscription service. I built this really, for myself, and then I'm sharing things that I'm building for you. So hopefully everybody appreciates it. You guys have a great day.